So, what exactly is eyemaxxing and why is everyone suddenly talking about it? It sounds new, but it really isn't. It's a new name for this technique that makeup artists have been using for years. The modern twist is that we combine those techniques specifically to make the eyes look larger, brighter, and more defined. And before we begin, I have one simple beauty rule. There are no wrong shades or wrong choices. And eyemaxxing isn't about telling you what you cannot wear. It's about understanding what each color and technique can do for you. If your goal is simply to make your eyes look larger, using just classic brown and beige tones, watch my basic tutorial here. Today we are focusing on color and on the shades that can intensify the natural colors of your irises. Here's a simple starting guide, take a screenshot, but remember, these are suggestions, not necessarily rules. And today we are going to test two color families, olive green and burgundy-mauve. My eyes, like everyone's eyes, are not just one eye color. They are a mix of blue, gray, green, and golden yellow tones, which means I can choose which of these colors I want to bring forward. Do eyemaxxing and color theory really work in real life? So basically, there are three ways to use color for eyemaxxing. Equal the colors in your irises. Choose an eye pencil or shadow that corresponds with one of the colors already present in your irises. And this creates monochromatic and analogous harmony. The shades belongs to the same color family, and so the result usually looks soft, cohesive, and elegant. For example, because I have green and golden tones in my eyes, an olive shade would blend beautifully with my natural coloring. The second option is using complementary contrast. For green and hazel eyes, the true complementary family is red. And yes, you would be absolutely right to point that out on the color wheel, but that doesn't mean we need to apply a bright primary red all over the eyelid. In wearable makeup, we translate red into burgundy, cranberry, plum, eggplant, or other red violent shades. So they contain enough red to intensify green eyes, but they are usually softer and more sophisticated around the face. Actually, pure red can be difficult. If the undertone or placement is wrong, it can make the eyes look sore or tired, and my favorite one, add one bold saturated accent. Like bright tones works especially well with the brown eyes, but this approach can work on me too, just in more controlled way. But makeup is supposed to be fun, and you can create completely different looks with the same face, with the same eye pencil. And as a makeup artist, I've tested so many colors on so many different complexions and contrast level. So tell me your eye color, hair color, skin undertone, and whether your overall contrast is low, medium, or high. And I can suggest a shade and product to help you start experimenting with the color theory. So welcome to the comments. We need to even out the skin before we add strong color around the eyes. And do you know why? Actually, because just these shades create contrast with everything around them, not only with the irises. Green and burgundy can also draw attention to red blemishes, uneven skin tone, blotchiness, and redness around the nose. A clean, even base allows the eyes to remain the focal point. Next, eyebrows. We've all heard the classic phrase that brows are the frame of the face. In modern makeup, you can skip them, soften them, or even bleach them. There are no rules, so don't limit yourself. And today I'm creating a more classic, balanced look, so the brows matter. And they anchor the eye makeup and just keep the color from looking disconnected from the rest of the face. Now let's start. Because I have yellow and green tones in my irises, I'm going to begin with olive. But what if you don't own an olive pencil? So if you have gold or maybe bronze and emerald, you can create your own olive. I'm applying gold along waterline, and while the texture is still creamy, I'm layering emerald directly over it, but quickly, so the two formulas blend together and create a completely new shade. Take a small precision brush and soften the edges. On the other eye, I'm applying burgundy, and this texture is incredibly smooth. You can blend it with a clean fingertip or just use the sponge on the other end of the pencil. Again, soften only the border so you don't lose the intensity at the lash line. And with a formula like this, you can even skip powder eyeshadow. Pick up the remaining pencil from the brush or a sponge and diffuse it softly across the lid. Because my eyes are hooded, I'm taking the color slightly above my natural fold and creating a soft V shape at the outer corner. And this makes the color visible when my eyes are open and creates more lid space and helps the eye appear larger and more lifted. Keep your eyes open and look straight into the mirror. Hold the brush almost perpendicular to the skin, as I'm showing you here, and move it gently from side to side, following the natural curve of your eye socket. You cannot leave the creamy texture like this. You have to set it with a powder or with just powdery shadows for more intensity and longevity. I'll begin with one of my favorite YSL Beauty palettes because the formula is outstanding and very easy to use for beginners. The pigment, the blendability, and the balance of colors make this one worth it for me. And this combination can work beautifully with the green, blue, gray, and of course brown eyes, especially brown eyes. And if this is your first experience with a colorful makeup, this is the type of palette I would start with. The next palette is, of course, this gorgeous one from Tom Ford. It gives us classic bronze and gold, but also a rich berry tone and a beautiful plum, so pigmented and smooth that they look impressive even without a pencil underneath. And I have one more option. This is technically a highlighter palette. At the moment, some of the shades feel a little too intense for me as face highlighters, but I still use them constantly as eyeshadows. From the Dior palette, I'm adding the pink highlighter to the inner corner of the burgundy eye and the green gold highlighter to the olive eye. Look at that texture and shine. It's beautiful and both shades work perfectly with the makeup we've already created. I know pink highlighter can look intimidating in the inner corners. At this stage, it may even suggest a little irritation. I agree, totally agree with you. But once we add mascara and maybe restore a dark frame around the eye, and the pink will just look as light, not redness. And this is one of those moments when you have to trust the process. The reflective finish catches the light, makes that visible lid space appear larger, and creates beautiful contrast against the deeper burgundy. On the olive side, I'm doing exactly the same thing with the green gold highlighter. And that catches the light so beautifully. I had almost forgotten how good these two shades are. And why does this green gold work so well? So, because I have tiny yellow-green details in my iris, remember? I know you want to see this deep wine shade on the burgundy eye. It's far too captivating to ignore, so let's follow the inspiration. I'm placing it at the outer corner and along the lash line to add depth. And then I'm blending it into a soft V shape. So this brush has two working sides. One side is carrying the shadow, so it's now the dirty one, and the other side is still clean. I place the color with the loaded side and then turn the brush and use the clean side to diffuse the edge. I stretch the shadow outward toward the temple and lift it slightly, just following the direction of the lower lash line. And for the upper border beneath the brow, I'm using a second brush, flat, but still soft enough to blend. Hold it almost perpendicular to the skin and use small side-to-side movements. So why a flat brush? Because on a hooded eye, I actually don't have much vertical space, and a large round brush just could transfer the shimmer from the mobile lid into the outer corner or brow area. And finally, this dark plum. And yes, it will make the outer corner deeper, but remember, we added a very strong reflective layer to the mobile lid. So we have to balance it out, depth at the outer corner and this shimmer on the mobile lid. And I'm blending it with the same brush. I'm using a baby pink lavender blush at the outer transition, and this can help soften any shadows that didn't blend perfectly For example, when a highly pigmented formula grips too quickly onto damp concealer or foundation. I know this very common mistake, but the blush does something else too. It connects the entire makeup with the rest of the face and also can help to make this transition smoother. So, could we use an orange blush here? Of course, we can do whatever we want, but for this classic monochromatic look, a cool pink or berry family blushes just creates a more intentional harmony. On the olive side, I'm setting the pencil with an olive shadows. Unfortunately, this particular shade has been discontinued and I don't want to buy another one while I'm still finishing this one. But you don't need the exact same product to try the technique. And because I know you'll ask where to find these shades, I've saved everything I'm using today together with a few affordable olive alternatives in my Shop My Shopper app. You can find all my picks in one place. It's an easy way to discover, save, and shop all my favorite finds in one beautiful, organized place. And even after years of working with the makeup products, I still become ridiculously excited about certain unique pieces. I collect limited edition very carefully, almost like a child with her favorite dolls. And this one is Lancome and Louvre palette. I hunted for it for 2 years, and I think this is only the second time I've allowed myself to touch it. But then I thought, why am I saving it? We are living our lives now, and we should use the beautiful things now. So here I am. And by the way, Zendaya looked like an actual goddess in this campaign. Of course, you can find a beautiful emerald shadow from many makeup brands, but when makeup is created through art, history, and intelligent design, it becomes more than just another green shadow. So that concept completely sold it to me. So never mind my emotional relationship with this palette. The emerald will become the eye-catching detail on our olive side. And this olive emerald makeup works beautifully with a warm peach blush. So I'm using the same complexion stick that I used at the beginning of the video. I want to show you two different eye shapes. On the burgundy side, I'm cleaning the lower edge just almost horizontally. I'm not following the natural rounded prominent part of the eye. And then I angle the line upward toward the temple, creating a wide open angle, approximately 120 degrees. This visually flattens the lower curve and elongates the rounded or more prominent eye. On the olive side, I'm creating a small soft curve near the inner part of the lower eye, and then just following the rounded eye shape before lifting the outer edge. And actually, this technique is beautiful for small, natural elongated eyes when you want them to appear rounder, more open, and slightly doll-like. So these are two completely different shaping options, and one elongates and visually flattens, the other rounds and opens. Choose the effect you want instead of automatically tracing your natural eye shape. Mascara. Green and burgundy mascaras will intensify the result even more, and they look especially interesting when we switch the sides. Dark burgundy lashes with the green shadows and green lashes with the burgundy shadows. That unexpected contrast makes both colors feel more intentional. And for the lips, I'm keeping everything very simple. Lip liner and clear gloss. Small spoiler, it was 38 degrees while I was filming. My brain was melting and I completely confused the warm liner with the rosy one. So we need to switch them. The rosy liner belongs with the burgundy side and the beige brown liner belongs with the olive side. Even before I explain the problem, you can probably feel that something looks slightly wrong. And when every part of the look seems technically finished, but the result still doesn't feel harmonious, check the color temperature. Very often, that is the missing piece. I'm adding a little clear gloss too. Lately, I've been obsessed with the sticky lip oils. I don't even know why, I simply love that sticky feeling on my lips. And let's finish with a highlighter. Look how beautiful everything works together. Can we bring highlighter back into our lives? I genuinely miss the time when makeup was allowed to be such an obviously fun experience. Of course, on the rose side, I'm using the pink highlighter. Oh, we hit the pen together. This is such a moment. How do you explain this feeling to someone who doesn't love makeup? And that's it. What do you think? Personally, I'm obsessed with the green color, but when it comes to the shape, I prefer the more elongated burgundy eye with a wide angle blend. And here are the close-ups. Which eye do you prefer and why? Is it the color, the shape, the finish, or the way it changes the iris? And now tell me, how do you eyemaxxing? Do you follow the rules of complementary colors, or do you simply wear whatever you want? What are you going to try on your own eyes? And let me know in the comments. Let's discuss. Don't forget, you can share your skin tone, skin undertone, your eye colors, and everything what I described in the beginning of the video. And drop your explanation in the comments, and I can help you to pick up the right color of eye pencil. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!